everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Fashion Grunge Podcast. I am your host, Lauren.
And I'm Jai. Hi.
What's up? We're talking about Singles today from 1992, written and directed by Cameron Crowe. So this is cool. Jai has never seen it. Have you heard of this movie?
Never heard of it.
Oh, wow. Okay, so we get like fresh perspective, totally full on. What did you think about it?
I think it's a light, fun, cool movie. I really liked it. It was kind
super
of
fun.
refreshing to watch something that's sort of like about a really cool time, like the 90s, like grunge and like Seattle. And I had no idea that it existed or heard of it or knew anything about it. So
oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was really cool. I really enjoyed it. It was like really funny at times.
It was really funny.
And I actually really love Bridget Fonda. Like, I haven't really seen her in much, but I remember seeing her in like a few things in the 90s, and I remember
Single White Female. Cool. We just did the episode on
which
that,
I watched in the 90s, but
also same year too.
La Femme Nikita.
Oh yeah, La Femme Nikita.
That was so cool. I love that show. I remember like staying up late watching it. I was like, my mom was like, "Why are you watching that show?" Yeah, no, I really liked it.
That's felt cool.
That I could relate to a lot of to the characters in like certain situations,
Yeah, same.
Like you're in your 20s, kind of like late 20s, and I don't know. I definitely do not miss being such a complex human. I'm kind of glad that I'm a lot older and I'm over that, because being 27, as I was telling you about just before we started, was like a nightmare.
Yeah, it wasn't a nightmare for me. It was definitely just, I guess I've never been all that complex. Just kind of like, I don't really have anything that I like super regret. I mean, I guess I regret some things, but I mean, I don't think I don't know. I just kind of lived like each day. I'm not a planner, as you probably figured out, knowing me. I'm not a planner. So I think if I don't plan, I'm never disappointed. I plan for short-term things, but I never plan long-term, because it just, I mean, as 2020 has shown you, life doesn't work on a plan. So if you don't make a plan, a crazy plan,
sorry, I just sneezed. Did you hear that? I'm sorry about that.
Jai has allergies, possibly from a flu shot or possibly corona. Who the fuck?
No, it's definitely not either of those. I just have really bad allergies.
No, she has allergies.
It's awful.
Yeah, no, it's allergies, people. So yeah, it sucks. But yeah, I mean, I guess I just didn't have any I guess I had some things, but I don't think overall I was never this neurotic as these people. Like these people are very much in their head and like extremely neurotic. I'm definitely not.
I feel like I acted a bit like Linda at times,
Oh yeah, okay.
But then also like Janet. Yeah, that's what I mean. There's a bit of and not so much like Debbie, although she's hilarious. But
oh my god, she's so funny.
She's so funny. I love her. I had a friend like that actually. She still is like that.
I did too.
Yeah. However, if you're listening to this podcast, I definitely think you're like Debbie, but it's a compliment, so don't change.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, I'm so glad you liked it, for seeing it for the first time and just hearing about it for the first time.
Yeah.
What do you think about Cameron Crowe? Because he's done a lot.
Yeah, he's done.
Did you know that? Yeah, you didn't know that he did this.
I didn't know he did this, because I actually only knew him from like Almost Famous and Jerry Maguire.
Oh yeah, okay.
Right? I think there's another one that I've seen.
Vanilla Sky.
Yeah, which is obviously rubbish, but I did watch it.
No, the Spanish one's really good. I remember watching the Spanish one in school, like in high school.
It's the thing is, like, it's got such good music. It's got Tom Cruise and Penelope Cruz, but then still, I mean, it's actually, I've watched it about 5 times, and it's not as bad as I thought the first time, but
I've only seen it once. I definitely never saw it again after I saw it. I was like, okay.
Yeah, it's a weird one, but
the same. I know I'm going to get completely dragged for this, because this is a lot of people's favorite films, but I also feel the same way about Almost Famous.
I know.
I was not impressed and saw it once, and I was like,
I love that film.
I don't like Kate Hudson. That might be another reason. I find her really annoying. Maybe I just found her really annoying in that movie?
I don't mind her, but I do. I feel like what I like about Cameron Crowe is like he. Well, that's kind of a bit of his story, isn't it? Almost famous because he
Mm-hmm.
started really young. Like I think that's really cool. But yeah, I love so many of the actors in that movie, and I love the
Oh, and
time.
Almost Famous?
Yeah, I love that. I mean, it's fucking 70s. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's so cool. And that girl from The Craft is in it.
Mm-hmm.
Can't remember her name, but
What is her name?
so I guess you don't want to review that one, do you?
I mean, I could.
Let's do it.
I mean, yeah, we could.
Do a poll.
It's 2000. I will do a poll. I was actually going to say this is like a viewer's choice because people overwhelmingly wanted
Oh
singles more than
yeah,
Larry Clark's Bully. So,
crazy.
we were going to do Bully, or we still are. We just don't know when yet. The 20th anniversary is next year, so we talked about maybe doing it then. But yeah, Almost Famous. This is actually what? This is the 20th, so we could
Oh
do
yeah,
it.
let's
I
do
can
it.
do it as a. We'll do it as a like you really like it, almost like this, and I've seen it once, wasn't really impressed, but it's been a while, so maybe I'll
No,
watch
I've
it.
seen it like 10 times. I know the film like really
Yeah,
well.
so yeah, let's maybe that will be the
It's
next.
kind of one of those. It's actually one of those films that I watch on planes all the time because it's just like a feel good kind of
Oh,
movie, and it's always on most flights, pretty much.
do you have a film now that you just put on like when you're like when you want it as background, or do you not do that?
Well, not really film, but shows. Yeah.
Oh, what shows do you put on?
Well, Sex in the City and My Hunter.
Oh, that's right. Oh, and Mindhunter. Wow.
Yeah, it's weird. I actually cook while watching My Hunter in the background.
Oh, wow, that's cool. I was
Yeah.
gonna say my the two that I put on movie that I always put on is Social Network. I fucking love that movie.
What?
Yes,
Really?
I watch it all
Wow.
the time.
How?
And I do really like Justin Timberlake in that movie. So not so much Jesse Eisenberg. I mean, yeah, he's okay, but whatever. I like Andrew Garfield.
I like that film, but I've only seen it twice.
Yeah. Oh wow. No, my mom like randomly bought it on DVD, and when I came home, I was like, "You have Social Network?" And she's like, "Yeah, I like it. I like the music." I was like, "It's Trent Reznor. Yeah, it's fucking dope score. I think he won an Oscar or something for that score." But yeah, I was like, "No, it's really good." And now it's on Netflix. So I'm like, "Sweet, I can just turn it on. Don't have to
Yeah.
get out the
No,
DVD."
it's not a bad film at all.
And Breaking Bad, I put that
Oh
on all
yeah.
the time. I
So
have Breaking Bad
it's
on all
funny
the time.
because before these two shows I just mentioned used to be Breaking Bad and totally opposite. Um, The Devil Wears Prada.
Oh wow, that's another film that I think I've seen maybe twice.
Oh God, no, I've seen it like 20 times. Again,
Oh
always on the
wow.
plane when I'm just kind of like I
Yeah,
can't. I just want to feel good and I want to
it seems like
laugh.
a plain movie.
It's just such a. It's just yeah. It's a light film full of funny lines
Oh,
as
Anne
well.
Hathaway is in my actress shit list.
I
I
know.
will watch things with her though. She's not quite at the Julia Roberts level where I
She's
like unless
annoying. I
I
actually
have to.
give you that.
Everyone thinks she's annoying.
Yeah.
This is
Except
not
man,
a fair.
Matthew likes her. I don't know.
Really?
Well, no, he actually likes her as an actress, but
Yawn.
he's like, I don't get her. She's this apparently, according to him, she is one of those actresses that that most girls like because they think apparently we think she's really beautiful, but men don't get it.
What? I don't think that.
I don't think that. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't.
I
I
think he's
think
wrong there.
well,
I don't.
clearly people that he knew, women that he knew before felt that way about her, but
Oh, basic.
I
She's so
probably think so.
basic. Yeah. I was like, I've never even heard any woman say like, "Oh, like she's so stylish." Like she just doesn't.
Not
She's
stylish, but
very like she's
like
there.
5 years ago, she was like everywhere. I like
I
people.
guess. Yeah.
She is really pretty, but to me, I'm like she's pretty,
Yeah,
but
she's
like
okay.
I don't want to be like her or look like her
No,
or
yeah.
you
No,
know.
yeah. She's definitely not a Chloe Sevigny where I'm like, I want to be her.
No.
Like she's definitely not like that.
Yeah, tell
Um.
me. Wait, before we carry on,
Yeah.
like and subscribe.
Oh
Ta-da!
yeah, do that thing. Just tap the fucking Apple app thing. It's so fucking easy.
Yeah, because
Be
if you're
more than
listening,
eight.
it clearly means that you like this show. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So listen to it. Check it out.
it can be your
Write just
good
like a
deed of the
note.
day.
Yeah, just write a note. Just write like, hey, this is rock. This is cool. This is like rad. Just write like 3 words. Like it's super easy. But yeah, now Spotify, you can follow on Spotify, but it's everywhere. Wherever you listen to podcasts, it's there. And we're doing nice and cool shit. Cool movies. Oh wait, and I also created an Instagram at Fashion Grunge Pod.
Oh yeah, you have.
Follow
It's
that.
really cool.
I have to do that. I'm gonna give Jai the login too so she can just like spam it with whatever. Cause it's
Cool.
kind of cool seeing Instagram from like the beginning. Like they like send you all these notes like write more and post more to interact with your
Oh,
like
yeah,
group and
really?
like yeah, it's
Oh,
really weird. Yeah,
oh
they
my
give you all these
yeah.
like kind of like hints and post on your stories and like here's highlights and like all this kind of stuff. It's kind of funny. Since I've had Instagram for so long, I feel like they just don't show me any of that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's kind of cool seeing it from the beginning again. But
When
yeah.
when did you first watch this film?
Let's see. The first time I saw this was probably, I'm not sure, but I want to say maybe 2000. I was in high school
Oh,
and I think I
okay.
rented it. So it was like 2000, like around that time. I definitely heard the soundtrack when I was like really, really young, maybe, I don't know, 10 or 11, because the Smashing Pumpkins song Drown was
Oh,
on the
yeah.
radio
So
and
good.
obviously like Alice in Chains, like I mean, it just the reason I saw it was the soundtrack. Like that's the whole reason that I saw the film. And I think what's really interesting about it, because this is one of those films that I like in this is almost like the episode that I did with Mikey on Urban Legend. I like the film. I own it on DVD. I kind of own it as a kind of I guess you could say just an addition to the library because I like this film, but it's total like the soundtrack is very misleading on what kind of a film it is. If that for
Yeah,
me, this is
yeah,
just my own interpretation of it. It feels very I wrote semi-neurotic Hollywood quote unquote grunge rom-com with a great soundtrack. That's essentially what it is. Because this film I just found out was originally written in Phoenix to take place in Phoenix, Arizona. So this
yeah,
feels very much like they plopped it in Seattle because that's what was hot. So I just kind of feel like a tad disingenuous with like the way that they use the background and the way they're kind of like, oh, this is grunge. Another reason why I don't know, no one really knows, but there are some interview clips floating around about why Nirvana didn't do this film because they were asked
they were
very early
asked.
on
Yeah,
and they I think wanted to license Smells Like Teen Spirit for the soundtrack and it was way too expensive because they had eventually like grown and been huge at that point, but they just didn't want to be involved in this very kind of like Hollywood-esque
it
movie,
makes
I
sense
think.
though. It makes
Yeah,
sense. It seemed like a little
totally
too
makes sense.
mainstream for them. But it's funny because I actually read the opposite. Like that, a lot of people seem to think that the film sort of came or what's created like as the scene was like popping, but it's not true.
Mhm.
It was way on their way.
Mhm.
Like before the Seattle sound sort of became popular.
Like the 80s he wrote it. He
Yeah,
wrote it in like 83.
but apparently like there's an interview with Chris Cornell, I think, and Eddie Vedder, and they're like, yeah, he had a night to we were in it in this like sort of scene that we didn't really realize like what it was, but he could see it,
Mhm.
Um, so I don't think it was like they made the film once. Like the Seattle Sound was like a thing. It was kind of like before, just a bit before. But a lot of people
Yeah, it
seem
just
to
happened
think,
to come
yeah.
out.
Which I think is cool because I actually did think that when you told me about it, I was like, oh yeah, they done a film because already Seattle was getting a lot of attention and stuff, and the
Mhm.
like grunge and stuff. But apparently it wasn't. It just they both kind of came out at the same time in a way.
Yeah, it just like really helped that it had such a great soundtrack and that's probably what really like pushed it
Yeah, because
forward that
they
it had
they
great music.
um Pearl Jam wasn't known before the film.
Yeah, I read a bunch of weird stuff on like Reddit about it. Like people were like, yeah, well Eddie Vedder wasn't even in the band. I was like, he joined the band in 1990, so that's wrong. Like all these people were like, yeah, this and that. And I was like, okay, some of these people are wrong. Like this is Reddit, so like obviously people just post whatever. But I was like, I think they were hold on, let me see when did 10 come out, the Pearl Jam. I know that Soundgarden had records in the 80s, so they were already well known. But
Oh
Soundgarden
yeah.
just did that performance and then you just saw Chris Cornell like standing on the steps at that one scene, but he didn't have like lines like Eddie Vedder and like
No,
Stone.
no, he didn't. No, but he wrote music for it.
Yeah, Spoon Man.
It's
Can you imagine?
crazy. How
Yeah.
insane that he wrote songs out of those funny titles that were made up
Yeah.
for the film. He just like
It's
thought it would
so
be cool, and
cool.
he took it on himself. I think that's really cool.
Okay, so 10 was recorded in March, April of 91. That's when 10 was recorded. And it was released on August 27th of 91. And I believe, I don't know. Let's see. I guess I should. I go. Well, not that I should know this, but I don't know when they blew up. Because Nirvana is like another one that's like they released Nevermind, I believe, in September of 91, but they didn't blow the fuck up until like early 92
Yeah.
because that video hadn't come out yet. Smells Like Teen Spirit. So like it's not like when their album came out, it wasn't like it was flying off the shelves right away. There was like some delay. So same with Pearl Jam. I don't know when they like when everybody knew them. I have to look it up, I guess. I mean, I'm sure at some point like everybody knew who they were. But yeah, Even Flow came out in April of 92. So like by the time the movie came out, yeah, he was like big. Like everybody knew Pearl Jam like pretty well because this came out in 92.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. They wanted to call the film Come As You Are. How crazy is that?
Oh, how weird.
How weird. They were like,
Didn't
no,
they make
absolutely
one?
not.
They made a film called Come As You Are.
Did they?
Like a indie. Oh yeah, like pretty recently. Yeah, because someone I know is not someone I know, but like, some actor that I knew and I was like, yeah, 2019 film. A traveling oh no, this isn't it. This is one from Taiwan. There's one called Come As You Are, but there's an American one too. Oh, and this is remake of a 2011 Belgian film, so maybe they just happens to be the title. But
Hmm.
there is one called Come As You Are that's supposed to be like takes place in Seattle and like it's like this weird like I don't know, it's like a teen story.
Yeah.
It's something like that. It has like some Nirvana title, I think it's called. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's so
no,
weird.
I know that I found quite a few things like yeah, about the film, like Warner Bros had the film sort of like they weren't unsure like what to do with it really for like almost 9 months, but then because Nirvana sort of like blew up, like they were like, okay, we need to do something with this film. I feel like they kind of didn't believe so much in the film that they were just like, what is this, but then
Yeah,
they saw the scene
probably.
was like sort of like being like huge, so they were like, okay, we need to release this.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I messed up the headphones, sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, okay. My voice is about to get a lot worse because I can barely breathe because of my
Oh
allergies. So I'm
no.
currently breathing through my mouth.
Oh no.
Hopefully you won't be able to hear it, but
Oh no. Okay, well, hopefully
it's
Jai
fine.
makes it through this one.
Yeah,
Makes it through
I'm
this episode.
sorry.
This will not be a long one. I think I just have my other notes for my first thoughts were that it's such an 80s vibe. Like the way it's shot and the way the story is kind of
Yeah, it
filmed. It
feels
feels
really 80s. You're
Yeah, it felt
right.
super 80s. And I wrote, yeah, Cameron Crowe's from Palm Springs and did some work, I think, in San Diego. But he was living in Seattle with his wife, Nancy Wilson, who's from the band Heart,
Yeah.
I think in the 80s or something. So then they were like, oh, let's move like, obviously we're up here. And they kind of like saw what was going on. And they're like, here, let's do the movie up here. Or let's set it up here. Which is super. I mean, obviously it totally worked. I think this movie could have just been made as well in LA or New York or Miami. Like I think it just
Mm.
didn't the location was I like that it was in Seattle because I like that I had a lot of my favorite bands and stuff in it. But I feel like as a more commentary on like the scene and like the vibe of the 90s, I prefer things like Reality Bites.
Yeah.
Like as far as like really interesting commentary, but not like too I don't know, like not too like kitschy, like not too gimmicky.
I know what you mean.
Like Reality Bites was Houston, it's not LA, it's not New York, it's not somewhere like poppin' that we're thinking like, oh shit, it's like a regular place and they're like regular people. Well, this is the same, but it's like it also feels very much like this would have been made into a sitcom. Like all these people that live in this apartment building and like it's almost like Melrose Place
Yeah,
before
kind
Melrose
of.
Place.
Well,
And they're like in and out and they're kind of like, you know, webbing. I never saw all of Melrose Place, to be
No,
fair, but I know they all
I
live in
did
one
actually.
building,
I
right?
watched it. I watched
Oh,
it. It
you
was very
did? Okay,
similar.
so
Yeah, but it was
yeah,
like
they
a
live in one
villa.
building, right? And they kind of like intersect.
Yeah,
Like,
and it's like everyone is dating their neighbors and whatever.
mm-hmm.
They're all dating each other. But it's funny that you say that because did you read that? Did you come across that? Like they wanted to. Well, they wanted to make a TV series.
Oh, wow. No, I didn't know
But
that.
you didn't know? Okay, this is crazy.
No.
Okay, so basically, they Warner Brothers attempted to turn Singles into a television series, but Cameron Crowe was like, no, definitely, like, I don't want to do that. And then he told them like he's definitely not part of this. But then Hollywood Reporter like literally said like he watched the TV one day and then they said, oh yeah, like Singles will become a TV show.
Oh my
And he
God.
was like tried to get lawyers involved because he was like, I want nothing to do with this. And eventually the show that these people created was Friends. So Friends was kind of sort of inspired by Singles. So
Oh,
they wanted to
wow.
just take the whole concept and just make extend Singles into a show, right? But you can see in a way how it inspired Friends, because they all kind of live like together, like flatmates or whatever. And apparently,
Yeah.
how there's a fountain in their complex, in their building complex, right?
Yeah.
There is
Mhm.
a fountain in Friends too, so it's kind of like
Oh, wow.
yeah,
I
but
didn't see that.
and it's so funny because apparently there's an interview where Cameron Crowe's mom says to him, "Oh my God, you really screw up on that. You see, you should have said yes because you'll be living in a castle, we'll be rich." And he was
Ah,
like, "I don't care. I'm so happy that I turned it down because that's not what I wanted
yeah,
to
that's not
do."
what I wanted. Yeah, that's not what it was for.
Yeah, isn't
Wow,
it
that's
insane? Yeah,
crazy.
it's just funny that you said that because
Yeah, no, it felt very set up like a TV show. Like I was watching like a drama comedy, like that was going to end up being something like a TV show. But that's so funny because yeah, I forgot I'm not a Friends fan, so I guess it never pops into my head. But yeah, they do all don't they all live in the or most of them? Not all of them,
Phoebe
but
doesn't, but yeah.
okay, yeah. So like most of them live in the building and then they do end up dating each other. So
Yeah.
I guess that's so funny. I just have that the budget for this film was $9 million and it made
Oh,
18.5.
that's pretty good.
So yeah, it
Yeah.
made double, so that's awesome. I already talked about in the Nirvana wouldn't do it. We've got Stone Gossard, Jeff Ament, and Eddie Vedder from Mother Love Bones, then later became Pearl Jam. And yeah, they also have like a really amazing Mother Love Bone song in there too. So yeah, it's really cool. I really like that they're like in it, and a lot of
Me
Matt
too.
Dillon's wardrobe was, I believe it's like
Yeah, yeah, I
Jeff's
saw that
wardrobe,
too.
which
Yeah,
is
that's
super
really
cool
cool.
because he has like the best clothes in the whole thing. Um, and yeah, I thought that was super cool. And then let's see, it was shot around Seattle, obviously. The coffee shop Java Stop was like this closed place called the OK Hotel, which I guess people in Seattle might know. I do not know that place. 1,000 people showed up at the apartment building that they shot it in for a party, like when it
Oh
came out, which
gosh.
was super cool. But it wasn't even crazy. They said they thought it was going to be nuts, but it actually was like pretty chill. And yeah, and I have here that yeah, he wrote it centered around Phoenix. That he wrote the story originally to be around Phoenix. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool.
And he changed it.
Yeah, I read that Alice in Chains like refused to do like playbacks, and so they perform live on set in that scene of the film.
Oh yeah, you can hear it's a different version.
But that's really cool, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it's cool. Yeah, because at first I was listening to see if it was like the CD version, and they were just pulling like a music video, where you just mouth your words to it or
Yeah.
mouth your like lip sync it. But it was yeah, it was them.
Yeah, it's crazy because they keep coming like popping up in the podcast like Alice in Chains, and you're right, you did say
No,
this, they're so underrated, and I'm like,
so
it's
underrated.
true, like no one ever talks about them, and I genuinely forgot how great they were because
His voice,
I know his voice, but they
holy
do have
shit.
so many awesome songs,
Mm-hmm.
like so many, and I used to listen, I used to really be into them. I genuinely like forgot about them until we started doing the podcast again. It's really weird.
Yeah, they have a. I feel like they were in this documentary. I think I was talking to you about, or maybe to Jules about. I'm not sure. That there was a whole documentary about metal, It was on like VH1, and they were talking about whether or not grunge is metal. Like the whole hour was talking about it, and
Oh,
they were breaking it down. And like they talked to a lot of the Alice in Chains guys, and like they went to like Ozfest, like they went to a lot of metal shows because they originally were like a glam band, like when they started out. So like, and same with a lot of those early Seattle bands. They weren't glam as in like Kiss, like as in like Motley Crue, like not
oh
like
yeah,
that,
yeah,
but like just like a little different. Like they just had a different vibe. They all, which is really cool that they all had different vibes. The one thing that I do get why, or the one reason why I really like the whole grunge era of the whole thing, is that everyone was just so different. And when you think about most scenes and most like sub genres or whatever, they're all pretty similar. Like you can tell that they all
yeah,
belong to the same
totally.
genre, and you could almost kind of sort of not punk is another one that's a bit more experimental. There are like some offshoots there that everyone sounds kind of different, but as far as like the hair metal, like that shit all sounds the same. Like unless it's a song, for me it sounds the same, unless it's a song that I definitely know, like that I know this is a Motley Crue song. Okay, I will know a Guns N' Roses song because they're just better than every other band that came out at that time. But
Totally.
all of those other bands, like there's, for me, I mean, I know I'm gonna get dragged if you're like a huge like butt rock hair metal fan, but they all just are so interchangeable. Like Motley Crue, Poison, Scorpions, Rat, like you just switch them all out and you could tell me that one of those bands sang that song and I'd be like, okay. Like they all just have the same exact vibe. It's probably just because it's a major label. Like that's what was big.
That's
That's what was
true.
selling out arenas. So like you want to make the
Mhm.
money, this is what you do. We're not going to take a chance on some, thing that won't make us money. So I get it. But that's what I love about grunge is they're all so different. Like Soundgarden and Alice in Chains are definitely way heavier than Nirvana and Pearl Jam.
Oh,
Like if you
totally. Yeah, they're
split them
proper like
down.
yeah, but yeah, they're totally like harder, but not like like Metallica or
Yeah, no. This is also the kind of like I could see Alice in Chains and Soundgarden being on like the Crow soundtrack. Like they could have been
Yeah, they
playing
could
in
have
one of those
been
clubs,
totally,
like
totally.
that would have been so cool. That was like if I really like when I was breaking this down, watching it again, like in more of a like, really discerning eye, I was like, I'm watching the every part of the story just seems like way too vanilla for you to cut to like an Alice in Chains club sequence. I was like, these motherfuckers are not listening to Alice in Chains. Like, I just don't believe that these characters are like
Mm,
into this. You know what I
I
mean?
know what
Like
you
Linda
mean.
and Steve are like so square.
Oh
Like
yeah.
they're square. They're really like yuppie square. And I don't see that. Like I see them listening to the Replacements, who's Paul Westerberg, who does the main like theme song for the film and does the score. Like that's what they listen to. They don't listen to Soundgarden and Alice in Chains. And when they're dancing in the club, you can see that these motherfuckers. That's not how you dance to that. So like that's the thing. I was like, this just feels weird. What did you drop a glass? Did you drop a
Oh,
glass?
could you hear it? Oops,
Yeah, it's
sorry.
really funny.
I'm
This is
sorry.
funny.
You're gonna hear all sorts of sounds, and it's yeah, I'm just not doing great with this allergy situation.
Oh no, it's totally cool. No,
But
it
yeah, I
wasn't loud.
totally didn't even hear it because I got that big headphone, so I can't hear anything.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I didn't
But
break it.
yeah.
I just yeah.
Oh, you just dropped it.
Oops. Yeah, I
But yeah,
totally
that's how
know
I
what you
feel.
mean. That
Yeah.
is true. I was thinking like, how is Linda hanging out here? Like,
And how is her friend so much cooler looking than she is?
well, that happens.
No, it's true. But I was like, how come we literally don't see her friend at all? Like she
Yeah, I
literally
know.
just talks to
Yeah,
her
she's there for like
and
five
says like,
minutes.
yeah, it says like one word. But I was like, that's a pretty cool job though. You don't have to say any lines. You just have to sit and like and just look like you're listening, which is pretty cool. Yeah, well, let's get into the story.
Yeah,
So we open up with, I love the credits a lot, how you see those shots of Seattle and
yeah,
then
it's
like the
very
blue
cool.
screen, which is really cool. And then you first meet Linda, and I love how like it just opens up into her telling you about this like one guy this one time. And she like tells a story about this guy Louise that she met like just where was she? Oh, she was like outside of like a pet store. It's something, this is also very 90s too. I didn't write this down, but this is a very 90s thing to be like outside, like in a film, and like you meet them on the street corner and like you're both like it's very like
That's
Notting
true.
Hill type shit,
Yeah,
you
I
know, like
suppose
you
that's
bump
true.
into
Yeah,
them and then you end
yeah.
up dating. Like it's just like that's how they like kind of make it seem. But yeah, and it's really funny and like that whole like story unravels. What did you think about that whole situation when she met that guy Luis and he ends up like well, he said was that a Spanish accent? He said he was from Spain.
No, it's funny because at first I didn't hear the Spanish accent, but then after I'm like, I suppose it could be, but it could also be like Argentinian or something, you know?
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, that was so rubbish.
That was
Like,
so weird. I did like that drawing though that he made of her.
no, I know that's cool, but the thing is that stuff like that happened to my friend. So
What do
like
you mean?
something very similar. Like you would remember this is before like dating like apps and all of that, right? So like literally you will meet guys like that, like randomly, and
Hmm.
you would just go, I don't know, to get a drink with them and then, date them or whatever. So basically I was at this club with my friend in like 2006, 2007, and this guy started talking to her, and he was actually from Spain. He was just
Oh,
here
okay.
for like a week or something, I don't know. And basically they hooked up, and then they kind of were doing this long distance like relationship, whatever. And he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna come back, and then you can go and visit." And she did go and visit, and he came to visit her, and she was like really in love with him. And then she found out that he had a lot of different girls. Like he had a girlfriend
Oh,
back home, and he was meeting with other women in London as well. Like, and it's
oh
so funny because they
no.
said Spain, and I was like, that's so weird. That happened to my friend Jess. Yeah,
Oh
sorry, Jess. If
wow.
you're listening to this podcast, I'm telling the whole world about you and Fernando.
Wow, that's so crazy. I well the thing is when I remember I was like it's so weird. I was like was he a Spanish was that a Spanish accent? I couldn't
I
tell.
mean, it did sound a bit Spanish, but not at first. I was like, wait, let me see. Like, maybe he was pretending. I don't know.
Yeah, because then she goes and like tells her friend, he's like, I have to leave, I have to go back to Spain, blah blah blah. And then he's like, I'll be back in like a few months. And then she gave him that fucking garage door opener. I was like, does he drive? Why are you giving him this?
I thought that was really
Yeah,
odd. Was that a
yeah,
thing
that
that
was.
people
n-
did in the
If you were
90s?
like dating they lived in your town and they
So
had a
wait, is that like
car,
a key?
maybe.
That's like a key to your house
Kind of,
in a way?
yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
kind of, yeah, yeah.
That is
So,
crazy.
yeah, it's like that. Yeah, that was another one of my 90s moments. I was like, garage door openers, like big step. Like, here, you can like come into my house whenever you want. Yeah, but not a key. You're right. It's not a key.
She was
But
gonna marry the guy.
yeah, she was like, oh my God, I could like really marry him. I was like, but this every girl can relate to. If you like meet someone you really like
Oh
right
yeah,
away, you're like, oh my God, I'm in
totally.
love.
Oh my
And
god,
she's just
yeah.
like planning her whole life. Like, sorry guys to freak you out, but like girls do that. Or most girls do that. If they really, really like them like that, if it's like really, really like, So and then she's like telling her friend about it, and that's when they go to that bar and they're like dancing. I forgot what's on their dance to, but it's like really bad dancing. And then they go over to the bar and then they see him. Okay, this is what's weird. They see him like sitting at the end of the bar with some other girl, and he sees her, and then he just kind of looks at her like, like
Well,
shrugs
yeah,
his
because he
shoulders.
wants to pretend like he doesn't want to. I mean,
Was he ever from Spain?
that yeah,
That's the thing. It's
maybe
like,
that's
was
the
he just
hint that
completely lying?
he was lying and he's
And
not
then she
from
she
Spain.
walks over to him, and then she walks like out, and she passes by, and he like kind of looks in her direction, and she just kind of like rolls her eyes. I was like, bitch, that motherfucker would have been on the floor. I would have been screaming if this honestly happened. I wouldn't look across the
No,
bar
I mean I saw the
and be like,
same.
oh, like come on. I would tell that girl, like, do you know what he just did to me?
Well, I would just go out and cause a scene because why
Yeah,
not?
totally. What the
But
fuck?
yeah, maybe that was like what he did, right, to meet girls, or maybe he
Yeah.
did like maybe he was genuine from Spain, but he just did that, just told the story, like told the lie,
Yeah.
whatever. Um,
I found that really funny.
yeah, that was sad. She was
But
like,
yeah, it's
oh.
sad. Yeah, I was like, you missed an opportunity, girl. This is no. Like, I just feel like you would have totally gotten so mad. Everyone I know would have gotten so mad. And then we have those really funny chapters, which I really like. I wrote them down, like, and each one is kind of like what's about to happen, and then it says, "Have fun, stay single,"
Oh
and then
yeah.
and then you meet Steve, who is like, and I also really love in this film that it breaks the wall, like the fourth wall, and they actually talk to the camera.
Oh yeah, that's
So
true. I
that's
like
how it
that.
started. Yeah, it's how it started because she was telling us about this guy Louise that she met. So now we're talking to Steve and he's like, I just broke up with someone. And then he gives this whole story. It's like really convoluted story about like he was dating some girl and his friend was dating another girl. And then they kind of like switched and dated the other's friends behind their back. It was like really weird. And I was like, God, this is so incestuous also back when people
Oh
just met
yeah.
through referral
Oh
because
gosh,
like there was no
yeah.
dating. I mean, we'll get to like the video dating that Debbie goes through in a second, but like that's the only way you can meet a stranger was like either taking out a classified,
Yeah.
personal ads, or like that video, which was kind of new, but people didn't really have
Personal
like
ads. Remember when people used to post in like
yeah,
magazines or newspapers
even
section? There
Craigslist.
was like a section where you have that, like, be like I don't know, mid 30s, beautiful, intelligent woman seeking for tall, handsome man, whatever. It was
Yeah.
just so funny that yeah.
It's
Uh,
so funny. It's like so weird. And Steve is just like this typical like neurotic dude who's like a traffic observer. Like researches traffic in the city, which is kind of cool and just finds ways to like reduce traffic emissions and stuff, which is super weird. So yeah, he's obviously like he's like obviously like just kind of like super I don't know. He's like the girl version of I mean the guy version of Linda.
Totally. Yeah.
Like they're
Yeah.
very much the same, like have the same kind of deal. And then we meet Janet, who's your favorite, Bridget Fonda, who works in the coffee shop called Java Stop, which I think is cool.
It's so cool.
And
Yeah.
that's also was a 90s moment, was like coffee shops were like a big fucking deal.
Oh
Like
yeah.
they weren't quite everywhere yet in 92, but in Seattle it was like that's what you knew about it was that like they have tons of coffee everywhere.
Oh, again, another reference to Friends.
Mhm.
Coffee.
Oh
Coffee
yeah,
shop.
the coffee
They
shop.
always hang out in the coffee shop, and Rachel works at a coffee shop.
Oh, that's right. Wow. Okay. She's 23. I was like, fuck you, 23. I was like, she dates Cliff, this musician who's Matt Dillon. I wrote low rent Eddie Vedder. He's in a band, they're not exclusive. So yeah, she's like really into him, and he's just like, I'm a band guy. Like totally stereotypical band guy is pretty much playing in Pearl Jam essentially, but it and actually like members of Pearl Jam, which is pretty cool and kind of
So
funny that
cool.
they would do it. And then I said they go to a club, Alice in Chains is playing. I was just like could not see them doing this. Like I just wrote I couldn't even see Nirvana doing this either.
Oh no
Like this
way.
just would not happen. I
Hmm.
just like don't yeah. I just don't get it. It's just so crazy. And then that's when Steve and Linda meet. And I was like, they're not meeting at a fucking Alice in Chains show. Like this isn't happening. Like I don't get it, but I get it. Citizen Dick is getting interviewed, I believe, by Cameron Crowe because he plays a journalist in the film, which is
Oh
kind of funny.
yeah.
And then it's funny that their song is called "Touch Me, I'm Dick," which is like the takeoff of the Mudhoney song "Touch Me, I'm Sick."
Yeah. It's
Um,
so awesome.
it's really cool. And apparently there was kind of like a Sub Pop thing because Bruce from Sub Pop is in it too. And like Mark from Mudhoney is
Yeah,
like
someone
carrying
is
something
wearing
down
a
the
T-shirt that
stairs.
has Salt Pop in it.
Yeah, Steve
Can't
does.
remember who was. Oh, okay, yeah.
He has a Mudhoney shirt. Yeah, it's like Mudhoney on the front and then it has it on the back, which is kind of funny. And I wrote, I'm so Linda when I blow people off. Cause like he tries to talk to her. He tries to talk to Linda like Steve does. And
Oh my God, you're
she's like,
totally
yeah.
her. You're
Oh
totally
yeah,
Linda then.
totally. I do
Yeah.
not like it at all. You will not get anywhere. So I'm just like I was like, oh my god, I'm so her. And then we get to meet Debbie, who also lives in the building. She's fucking hilarious. She's like a younger version of like Kim Cattrall from Sex and the City.
Yeah, she totally is like a red
She's so
hair
good.
version of that.
Yeah. Really
Yeah.
like 80s bitch realness, executive clothes. She's got the neon, like, what does she do?
Oh
She
my
said that she
God.
did.
I think does
Forgot
she work
now.
in PR?
Maybe, yeah. I was gonna say she does something like that, like Samantha. I
Hmm.
wrote, I wish I, and then she's doing a video dating which I find so funny because that was another like new version of like Tinder back
That's
in the
like
day.
that's like in my favorite scenes, that video.
Yeah, same. It's also one of my favorite quotes is come to where the flavor is.
That
Come to
come to
Debbie
Debbie Town.
Country.
Oh,
Come
Debbie
to
Country,
Debbie
sorry.
Country. And I was like, I love how it's Tim Burton. I was like, it's like started off as this weird like David Lynch shit. I was like, what is this? Where she's like in that room
And the way
and she's
she's
like,
flying.
ah,
God, it's like she's
so weird.
flying like Superwoman, Wonder Woman, or whatever.
So funny.
So funny, yeah.
So then Steve and Linda meet, and then I wrote, God, I wish I lived in this apartment building. I was like, they go to his apartment, she's like washing clothes and she has to dry her clothes or some bullshit excuse where he's like, come use my dryer. So I was like, okay, we go into his house, and then it's like I was like, do people still have bulletin boards? I mean, I do, but I don't know
What
if
what
people do.
what is that?
Like a cork board where you just like
Oh,
cork stuff
yeah,
up.
so I have one, but I got rid of it when I moved to the US.
Oh, okay, yeah, I had one in LA. I don't have one now, but I had one in LA.
I had like all these really cool things that I like just pinned on them, like
Mm-hmm. Concert
quotes,
tickets.
flyers, yeah, like
Yeah, super cool.
postcards, whatever.
And then I said, "Oh my gosh, of course he works as like a traffic observer or whatever you call it, like traffic researcher or something." And I said, "I like this scene a lot. That feeling when you go to someone's apartment that like you like for the first time and you like see everything in their apartment and you kind of like try to suss them out in like 2 minutes, like okay, they've got posters on the wall or they've got this kind of furniture, like what are your records, like what kind of records, and you just kind of like find out stuff about him. Like he's like, oh yeah, I used to DJ in college, that's how I have all these records and I
Yeah,
still have records. And I really like that scene. It's really cool. They're just like up talking and just chatting back and forth, and you see like those flashbacks of previous relationships, which of course I don't think would actually happen. I mean, not that it probably would happen, but I'm not in the habit of like talking about horrible past relationships when the first time I meet someone or like the first time I'm really talking. It's kind of like it's weird, but I guess in this movie sense, it's
it's
okay.
definitely happened. I've been there. I've done that.
No, I definitely haven't. I definitely make it a point to not, and definitely take note if anyone else does. I find
Hmm.
that like somewhat of a red flag.
Do
It's some,
you?
I mean, not a giant one, but I don't like it.
Well, I definitely feel like
In the beginning, I'm not talking about ever. It's not like I
no, but
never
I know
would
what
hear
you
about
mean.
them.
Yeah, at the beginning. I mean, I think if it somehow is mutual, like for example, the guy starts the conversation and then you share some stories too, then it's fine. However, what you should never do be the first one to talk about your
That
ex
is
because
true.
men hate it and they will
Yeah.
just run away as fast as possible. I
Yeah.
did it, and it was like looking back, I want to like hide under the table. It was so embarrassing talking about my ex, and this guy was just like, okay, I like you, but now you're acting like a crazy person.
Oh
Like,
no.
yeah, but yeah, sometimes
I
it
agree with
happens.
that. If they start and you have something relevant and it like makes sense, then yeah. But like if it gets to the point where like this was obviously a film, but I feel like they were kind of like trying to one up each other on like who was crazier. Like who
Yeah,
had a weirder
but
relationship.
that
Like, oh, but that's like a movie.
but
It's like
that's
you kind
okay.
of
I get
do.
that. I feel like that's okay to do. I think the problem is when you just like
They
broke
just
up with
met.
someone and then you got meet someone and then you're sharing all the shit about your ex boyfriend. That's like
Yeah,
they
that's
see you
true.
as like you're crazy, like shame.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But definitely like first meeting, I think it's weird. If earlier or later on, or I mean later on, it's not so weird. But I think like
Yeah.
this is supposed to be like the first time they like really like meet. I do like when she like leaves and then she's like, I gotta go, and then he comes back and he like drives to her house,
Oh
which
yeah, and
and then
he
he's like,
says,
I was nowhere near
"I
your
was nowhere near your
neighborhood.
neighborhood." Yeah,
Yeah, which I
it's
thought was really
cool.
funny. I was like, then they're like now together. And then now we have the next scene is the hourglass syndrome. And it's like fucking Janet talking to Cliff, like, are my boobs big enough for you?
And
And he's
he's
like,
like, "No."
uh
Well, he says no, and I think she asks again, and he's like, sometimes,
sometimes.
sometimes."
And then she goes and meets with a plastic surgeon who is Bill Pullman, which I find really funny.
It is funny, yeah.
And then I said, I kind of love Cliff's apartment. I love when you see all this collage, like his wall.
So cool.
So cool. I mean, it is pretty juvenile, I guess, if you think about it. But no, he's in his 20s. It's not that bad. But it just, I guess nowadays that'd be kind of weird. But it's cool. I think it's really cool. And then I wrote, she goes in to meet with the doctor, and the doctor's just like, I think you look great. Like, I don't think you need anything done.
I
And like,
know, so sweet.
your boyfriend, if he doesn't like you the way you are, um, I was like, why is she not dating him? Actually, I think she just goes in for a regular consultation, and then actually when she goes to
That's
do it
yeah, that's
is
what he
when he
told.
like, yeah,
What
when he
she
like
says
hits on
that.
her.
But also, how
It's funny.
do you not feel like a little bit creeped out by that moment when he's like talking to her? Because it's like you could never do
Yeah.
that now because it's like
No.
you know because Me Too and like men just know they have to be really careful about the way they talk to women, basically, especially like a surgeon, you know.
Yeah, could you imagine if you had a doctor and then you had a
Mhm.
like let's say he didn't say anything to you. Let's say it was totally normal, but then you like go to make an appointment and they're like, "Oh no, I'm sorry. He's like referred you to someone else." And then you're like, "What? Like why?" And then he like calls you and he's like, "Hey, I really like you, but like I had to refer you to someone else because I can't like date a patient." Like
Well,
that's
that's
unethical. What would you
fine.
think? Would you think that was creepy that you didn't know and he just like passed you off
No,
before he went to ask you out?
I think that would be better than like asking me out
Well,
during the
yeah, totally.
consultation and be like, I think you're really beautiful. Because that, like, no, I mean, you just can't. Like,
Especially a
it's,
plastic surgeon.
well, yeah, who's gonna like basically give you like bigger breasts? That's
Yeah. It's
just,
so weird.
it is really weird.
I did on first I mean it is kind of weird now that I think about that you mentioned it, but at first glance I was like, why don't you just marry him? He's like 33. He's not even that old. Like he's a plastic surgeon, he's a doctor. He'll be
Because you
chill.
want someone fun when you're
Well,
that
yeah,
age.
yeah. But no,
You
she
think
doesn't want anything fun. She wants a lot from this guy. From
no, but
Cliff.
when you're 23, 25, you do not want a 33-year-old
No, that's
who's
true.
like really serious, like who's got like that kind of job. You just think that they're boring. You want someone like a bit crazy who's into music and stuff, you know?
That's true. I still want that now, so I don't want anyone boring
Yeah.
even now. So but yeah, that is true. So then the next chapter is blues for a t-shirt. And then I love that they pan to like all of Steve's apartment neighbors slash friends in the coffee shop, like talking about her. He's like, I met this girl. She's so great. I haven't, they're like, why don't you call her? And he's like, no, I have to wait. I can't call her right
Oh,
away. And it's like this back
so
and forth of like, I gotta wait 4 days. And
so
then I gotta
many
wait
funny
3 days.
lines
I know. It's
because
really
his friend
good.
is saying something like, not calling her is what I can't really remember, but it's really funny. He's basically saying that that's the way you approach her by not calling her. That's how you show that you care.
Yeah.
And it's like
There,
that doesn't make any sense.
there's
Like
another, have you ever seen the movie Swingers?
no.
Oh, okay, in Swingers, if anyone's seen that, there's a really also very similar conversation between like all these guy friends when this guy meets this girl and comes over and he gets her number and they're like, how long are you gonna wait to call her? And they're like, yeah, I used to wait 2 days, but I think 3 days is kind of money. And then they're all like, and they all like
Oh
discuss like
no.
how many days to call. So, which is really funny that he's like, I don't want to talk, I don't want to deal with you guys. You guys are all saying different things. Like, you just don't know. This is just crazy, which I found another kind of 90s moment too. This whole like waiting days to call because that's the only way you would ever talk to someone.
Well,
Now you
maybe
can just
that's
text.
true. You can just text or like DM them. But
Yeah.
that is true. You used to have conversations like that with your friends. Like,
hmm
shall I wait? Do you think like 2 days is okay? Am I playing too hard to get? Like, there's all this thing about that. It's
No, you don't want to
crazy.
seem
You don't want to
desperate.
seem desperate. I thought it's really funny when he says to his friends, if I had a personal conversation with God, I would tell him to create this girl.
I
It's like
know.
so extra. It's like, come on.
I was
Like,
like, wow,
you
that's
just
pretty nuts.
barely know her, you
I
know?
would tell him to create like a celebrity before I like an actual person that I met on the street.
Totally.
Like that I don't even know that well. Not that I know a celebrity that well either, but you know, I'm just like I'm like, that's a lot, dude. You're kind of obsessed. He is
He
very obsessed though. He
he
reminds
is.
me of the episode I was watching of Sex and the City the other day was the Bay of Married Pigs, where Carrie was dating that guy who like wanted to be married. Like
What
really
guy?
it was like this guy she went out with for like one day. It was in season one. And she like met this guy, like her friends set her up with this guy. And she was talking about how like it sucks to be the only single person when all your friends are married. And like you
Oh
go to parties
yeah.
and everyone's coupled up and you're like, or you get seated at the singles table,
Oh
whatever.
God.
So these people
Yeah.
set her up and this guy just like wanted to be married. And she's like, oh, I found the elusive New York guy, the one who's like running into marriage. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
matter who it is, you know, he just wants to be married. And he had an apartment and he had like all this shit like set up. And this is going to be the nursery eventually. Like she's like, whoa, I've been going out with him for a week. Like that guy seems like that guy. Like Steve seems like that guy. Like he wants to be like loved up and like in a relationship and he's kind of a mess when he's not.
Yeah, and also I have met guys like that actually. And also I feel like when you're a bit older, a lot of guys that I met, they just have it in their head like at 33 or 30, I want to be married, then I can have a family at 32 or whatever. They have a plan. So it's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
like
they
they're just
do.
waiting. And as Samantha Jones in an episode of Sex and the City explains very well, how it's not about, actually, it's not Samantha, it's Miranda. She says, it's not about you being right for them. It's just whether the timing is right. It's like if they're ready to catch the train, it will be anyone who's there. You know, it's kind of the same. It's like,
Yeah.
it's not so much whether you're great for them. It's just if you're not there, if you don't meet them when they're ready to just get married, then that's it.
Yeah,
It's
because you're
funny.
not gonna bend. Yeah, it's like
No,
either you do or you don't. Either you get on that train or you're like, no.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true. Wise Miranda. I do like Miranda, I
she's
have to
cool.
say.
Very cool.
I love that. It says, okay, so he waited 4 days to call and he shows up at her work. I wrote, do you like that or would that be kind of stalkerish?
That's a bit much, I
It's a bit
think.
much, right? When he
But
shows up.
I did like stuff like that. I loved it when guys were too much. It was cool.
Oh, that's the complete turn off.
Well,
Get very
it
uncomfortable.
was until you meet someone you really like and they are like really crazy and you just find that quite endearing, I guess. Like
I guess so. I
this
liked
guy.
this person and then they went down as soon as they
Oh,
liked
really?
me.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
the
didn't
whole
like that.
person would be like, no. But I really like this guy who eventually became my boyfriend. He decided to write like a CV, like a curriculum about me,
What?
basically stating all my great qualities, and it was so
Oh my
funny.
god.
And I got it.
Did you like that?
Yeah, I loved it. I was like, my
Oh
friends were.
god.
I was at my friend in Ascot that weekend, and I got it on Facebook on like messenger, right? And I read it like to my friend, and everyone was laughing, and I was like, I love this. This is so great. She was like, that is so awful. It's kind of gross that he's like telling you, you're so great, and you're this, and you're that, and you're so talented, and you're smart. And I was like, I love it. I could hear this all day long.
I think in theory it sounds really good. I would never talk to that person again.
No, but that's someone that I really liked. You see, if anyone else had done it, I would be like, oh, creep,
Yeah, I guess
weirdo.
if
But
I don't know. I can't
yeah.
say that I would. I find like compliments and all that stuff like very uncomfortable. So I don't like that in general. So I think like roses, flowers, chocolates, no. Don't you fucking do that. Don't fucking do
Hmm.
that. That's not me at all. I'm like the complete opposite. Like the few people that I've managed to like actually date more than a few times, I've always been like, God, you're like literally like a dude. Like
You are like a
you
dude,
don't want
totally.
anyone to pay
You don't
attention to
want
you. I
anyone
was
to know
like,
about you.
no. I do not want no. I don't like it because every time I find it so disingenuous and I just find it like it's just not I'm never going to reciprocate it, so I don't want it
Mm.
done to me cuz I'm not going to do it to you. So like you just need to be chill. Like you just need to be fucking chill. Don't be so fucking extra. This guy wouldn't last a second. Even just him coming up in the club like to Alice in Chains, the
Oh
way you
yeah.
come up like that, you're
Oh
out.
yeah.
You got 5 minutes and that 2 minutes you were done. I would have held my ground with her, but
I honestly feel like if he was the right person, you would change your mind because I used to be like that until like the right guy
yeah,
came along and I loved all the things I never cared about, like flowers, never cared about like romantic
I
dinners
guess.
and like the whole like candle situation and like like all of that. I was like, with the right person, it all becomes like cool all of a sudden, like
I
it's
guess so.
and
I guess
now. Yeah.
Now you like you well now you like it
Oh
then.
yeah, I'm all over the. I am totally extra. Like, remember that birthday thing that I
Yeah,
did
yeah. Well,
when I
that's
got
cool
like
though.
40 birthdays for his 40th birthday
I
one
know that's pretty
day.
cool. I can't believe you
Um,
managed to do
I
that.
love like stuff like that, like gifts and like little cute things. Yeah.
I guess it's always come attached to psychos for me. So I've never had it been genuine. It's always been like really fucking scary.
Well, yeah, I get
So
it.
so
No
yeah,
wonder.
it's yeah, yeah, it's not happened. I think the older I get, it's not something that I'd be into. It's kind of weird.
Hmm.
I think if in your 20s it's kind of cool and funny, but now it's like, okay, what do you want? Like like I don't know, I just find it so strange. Like I
But
just
you
find it
can't be
so
too
strange.
cynical. You can't.
No, I mean, I guess not. I need to meet someone that's just as cynical as I am.
Like, yes, but would that even work?
I don't know. I don't know.
Opposites attract. I
Yeah,
just think that
it depends.
you
It
need a geeky
depends.
guy, honestly.
I don't I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know about that. I think in theory, yeah, but I think long term, no. Like if you're not like somewhat a little bit relaxed, like if you're not smoking weed with me, no. Like you gotta I mean, you just have to be equal parts of both. But if you're too geeky and too nerdy and I'm gonna feel too judged with like all the shit that I do, like no. Like I just no. But see, okay, in lieu of flowers and candy and all the stuff that like you see in the movies, if you bought me like a ticket to like a dope art show, you maybe bought me like a new
Yeah,
camera. Like if you're
that's
doing stuff where
cool.
you think of if you're thinking about me, like I would think about the person. That's cooler than like conventional shit. I don't
Yeah,
mind gushy shit, but it's got to be like me. It's got to be personalized. It's something that no one else
yeah,
would
yeah.
be like,
That
you
makes
know, oh
sense.
cool. It's got to be like, oh, it's your favorite beer or like it's your favorite band or your favorite movie or like a Q&A with this director or actor you really like or something like that. Like that's what would do it. So it's not impossible. It just can't be generic. Just not can't be roses and chocolates and shit. Like you'll eventually find out that that doesn't like that's just a waste. Like don't waste your money on it. We could do something else. Like it's not like everyone else. But some girls really like that shit. I don't care about rings, diamonds, all that shit.
Oh
Don't
yeah,
care.
no, I don't care
Don't
about stuff
care.
like that. I don't care
Don't
about
care
fancy
about
things like
yeah, like
that.
yeah, that's the thing that I guess a lot of
No.
guys think that girls are like, oh, you want fancy handbags, you want fucking
Well,
red
because a lot of
bottoms.
girls like
Yeah,
that,
I was gonna say a lot of
a
girls do,
lot of
but
them, especially in the US. Sorry, but I
yeah,
feel
I
like I've met
definitely
a
see
lot of
that.
princesses here.
The
I
Kardashian effect is real. The Kardashian
no,
effect is so real on
I
so
hate
many
that.
girls.
Yeah, it's
Oh yeah,
like
totally.
Matthew would not get me stuff like that ever. He's more about like tickets for a show, like
Yeah, that's like the
a
cool shit.
weekend away, going to a festival, like you know,
Yeah,
stuff
that's the
like
cool
that, which is
shit.
way cooler than getting me like a nice bag or whatever.
Yeah, it just depends on who you are, I guess.
Totally. Anyway.
Totally. It's so crazy. Yeah, so he's shown up at her work and it's been kind of weird. And and then she's like, I can't believe you waited 4 days to call. And then you're playing all these games. And then he's like, oh, if I was gonna be playing a game, I would have waited a week. I was like, this motherfucker right here. Uh-uh. And
Well,
she like
4 days is not that bad.
she looked no, I didn't think it was that bad, but I don't know. Maybe back in 92, does that seem like a week? Does that
No,
seem like I don't
I
know, because we
guess.
have such instant communication that I think if you're waiting for your phone to ring and you have the voicemail and you're like constantly checking it to see if they called and they don't,
Mm,
like maybe that feels kind of like obsessive. Or like, like you feel like, oh God, I haven't talked to him in so long, but it hasn't been that long. But it just feels like longer, I think. I don't think 4 days is that bad, but
it's not.
apparently she freaked out. And then she's like, I don't want to see you again. And then you just see her using that blue t-shirt that he left at her house when they slept together, like cleaning the toilet. She's
That,
like,
that's in my favorite scenes.
it
That
is really
she's
funny.
cleaning the toilet with his t-shirt. That's so mean,
It's so fucking mean. Yeah, I was like, oh damn.
So mean.
And then we get to like Debbie going to the fashion vintage shop to like look for looks for her new dating video.
Oh, yeah.
And the girl's like, oh yeah, I'll hook you up. We'll do this and that. But you should get this guy. And it's fucking Tim Burton.
God, it's so
So funny.
funny.
I know that he's like back there and she's like, he's going to be the next Martin Scorsese. I was like, oh my God, that's really funny.
Yeah,
That he ends up doing her video.
so crazy.
And I said, yeah. And then all of them see the video and they're just, and I was
Wait,
like,
when did Beetlejuice come out?
93,
Yeah, I
maybe?
thought 92, 93.
Because what was Edward Scissorhands was 90. So he'd already made Scissorhands.
Yeah.
I want to say 93. Let me see. I'm going to say 93. Beetlejuice. Oh, fuck. 88.
What?
Shit. Oh, we're wrong.
Wow.
So he's already like famous then.
Oh yeah, of course.
That was like legit camp. Well, already Desert Silverhands is 90. Oh, after that, Nightmare Before Christmas in 93. Wow. Okay, so yeah, he was like definitely. Oh, fucking Batman was 89.
Oh, that's
The
why.
first
Okay.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first one. Oh, that's right.
Michael
And that's Warner
Keaton.
Brothers too.
That was Michael Keaton, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Who was also in Beetlejuice.
Yeah. Yeah. He was
Yeah.
Beetlejuice.
So that's so funny that
How
he worked
could I
with Tim Burton.
forget? Beetlejuice has been with me.
Beetlejuice?
Yeah. Many funny
Oh.
moments, different times of my life, different trips.
Oh my God, that's so funny. And then I have Eddie and Stone in the Java Stop, and then Citizen Dick Band, and that really funny album review. Where they're like, hey, let's listen. And they give this like horrible review of what of how bad like Cliff is as a lead singer and how he should just move to another town so they didn't have to hear about him anymore. And he's like, I don't want to hear anything negative. And they just
Oh my God.
they don't say anything.
That is so funny. He's like, all this negative energy just makes me stronger.
Yeah, he's like, doesn't matter. And then we get to the point where the plastic surgeon hits on Janet and she goes in for that like actual like time, like, you know, actual time to do the surgery. And then she's like, did my check bounce? Like as he's saying, like, oh, I think you're really great. I really like you. But I like how she turns it on him. She's like, I already have someone, but lots of girls would love to go out with you. You're like this hip guy. And she like messes with his hair. I like how she just turns it on him and it makes it like a little less awkward. Yeah. And I was just like, that's so weird. And then she goes to Cliff and you see him like complaining about corporate sponsors and like a boring music scene after they bomb in Portland.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, who cares? Blah, blah, this is gonna be so lame. A lot of people were like, that sounds very like Kurt, like complaining about how like, you know, everything's gotten so corporate and all this kind of stuff and like the music scene.
Imagine if they were if they saw what it's not like now.
Oh no.
They have a heart attack, you know.
So bad. And then the next chapter is Blue Seattle. And then you see Linda and Steve get together again. Another plot point was that he left a message on her machine that was like, oh my God, like this really long message, like, I miss you, like, I fucked up, like, blah, 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 take me back. And she, like, doesn't get it because the tape gets eaten.
Yeah.
That's such a 90s moment. And it's also such a 90s moment that a tape getting destroyed is, like, a plot point. That, like, they will never get that message is, like, super 90s because that's totally
but also
what
the
do.
tape recorder. That's, like, crazy that people used to have that back in the day. It's so weird. I don't even...
tapes.
I don't think we had that. I don't even think we had that.
We didn't have an answering machine. Like when I'm growing up, me and my mom didn't. It was kind of like, yeah, we just didn't have one. She was like, I don't need one. It's silly. Let's see. And then I wrote Linda and Steve are together again. Love a good rom-com montage of like all the stuff that they're doing together, like playing to like Paul Westerberg or something like that. And then I wrote Linda's late. Oh God. And he goes to the drugstore to buy like all those weird pregnancy tests that were like the weirdest names on them.
I can't believe how hard it was.
Yeah.
They seem so technical. It's crazy.
I know. And then I wrote Jeremy Piven as the drugstore clerk. Just so weird. I was like, this is so strange. Yeah, I wrote she's pregnant. Oh my God. Then I wrote another 90s moment was that fucking pregnancy test, man. That's it was like so advanced. Like chemistry. It's like chemistry.
Not advanced.
Well, not advanced, but like it looked like a chemistry set.
Totally.
Like pour this in this glass tube. I was like, whoa. And they were like, maybe it's not blue. Let's hold it against something white. Let's put it up. Is that kind of blue? Like,
So
it's
funny.
kind of blue. And then the next one is expect the best. This is the best when Debbie gets all the videos back of all the guys that are interested in her after seeing her like weird
Oh
David Lynch
yeah. Oh my
video.
god, I forgot about
Oh
that.
my god! And they all are like, "Go for the bike guy." Everyone else was like, so weird. So she goes with that guy who's like, "I'm into biking, and like, you should be biking too, and like, we could just bike around and like see Seattle together." And then she's like, "Okay." So she like goes and sets up a date with him. They go to the wrong restaurant. She's wearing that like crazy 80s, 90s like
Oh my god.
tracksuit.
No, that was really like 90s.
Oh, that's
Like
true. Yeah,
that
that
was
is super
super
90s.
90s because I remember I had something similar, but not like quite, it's just like a bomber jacket in those colors. That was like really like on trend. It's so funny.
Yeah, it's so funny. And she had like the didn't her helmet wasn't her helmet like pink too?
Yeah, she had those crazy glasses as well.
Yeah, she looked so crazy and she
She
like
looks so cool. That's like my favorite outfit.
outfits. It is pretty cool. It's very of the time. But she's like pushing
Yeah,
it. She's getting
it's
there. She gets to the other restaurant, and that woman's really funny, or she's like, "Oh, he just left." But like he's going to your he got your address from the dating place and he's showing up at your apartment. I'd be like, "What? He got my address from the dating place? Like they're just giving out my address to some weirdo?" Like, okay, that's weird. So then she goes to her apartment. I love that whole scene where she's like frantically like biking through the city, like sweating, like trying to get there, trying to look okay.
I
And then
know, me too. So
then,
cool.
then she bursts in, and then her roommate is like totally flirting with him in the kitchen, and she's like, "What the fuck? What is this? Like, this
It's
is
like I
so
met him first.
weird." Yeah.
Like no, because he came to look for me. Like
Oh my god, I thought that was really funny. And then the next chapter is called the theory. Oh wait, before we get to that, then they like kind of bargain him off. They're like, "Give me some money. How much you want to give me for him?" I think they like $200, and he can hear inside. He's like, "What?" And they're like $200, and then she just finally like kind of sells him, like, "Here, take him." Which I thought was kind of funny. The next chapter is the theory of eternal dating, and Steve asked Linda to marry him. I mean, she's pregnant. I'm assuming that's why. And they're like talking about, but then they're kind of like rationalizing, like, "Oh well, maybe not, like we came back together." I mean, they work really well together. I was like, well, they can get married. I feel like it would work. And
yeah, quite
they kind of,
mature and like
yeah, they
going
are.
for their age and stuff.
They seem older though.
Totally.
They seem like they might be like 30, like maybe not 27, like maybe 30, or they act like it or kind of dress like it. So I felt like neither one of their outfits really wowed me. When I
No.
when I
Oh God,
looking
no.
through the fashion, I was like, yeah, basic, whatever. I don't even remember what it was. And then I said, I said, yeah, and they get into that awful car accident,
I
like
know.
as
That's in
they're
my worst.
driving.
That's the only worst scene that I have.
Yeah. And then she loses the baby. That scene was really sad in the hospital.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no. And then she was gonna go on like Alaska trip for work because she's like an environmental science or something like that. And then she's like, I'm just gonna go to Alaska for like a month, and I just need to like I need to go, I need to regroup and see what's up. And what's his name? Steve is like, oh, but okay, like whatever you want to do, like it's fine. And then she goes away. And then you see another really funny scene is when Cliff installs that stereo in Janet's car to try to get her
Oh
back.
my God.
And I wrote Chris Cornell. And he's like standing on the step,
He's
like
so
as
cute.
he's so cute
Oh, his
as
long
they're like
beautiful
watching it.
hair.
Oh my god. Is
No,
Matt Dillon's hair a wig?
it's got to be.
It has to be, right?
I think so because he looks kind of bad.
Yeah, it looks like the same. I don't know. I couldn't tell if maybe he had long hair. Let me Google Matt Dillon in 1992. I feel like he had short hair.
He definitely had short hair.
Like if we had long hair like that, I feel like we would have known. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he
He
had.
doesn't look like good hair either. It's,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know.
Eddie Vedder's didn't look so hot either. It needs like deep
Oh, his hair is
conditioner.
alright. His hair is
They
fine.
all need some deep conditioner. Let's be real. They would all have like Chris Cornell hair if they had like deep conditioner. His hair is like, oh god, it's just so nice.
So curly and
Yeah,
nice.
it's so
Yeah.
nice. Um which is so funny how he installs that stereo and like it starts shaking and the windows break. He's like, I'll pay for the window.
Well, that will totally happen if it's
Yeah.
really loud, you know?
Yeah, which is so funny. Like opens the bag and he's like, I want you back. Um anyway, so Linda comes back from her trip and she's like, so we're just gonna be friends. Okay, we're just gonna be friends. And then Steve just like goes to like a Soundgarden show. I was like, okay,
Oh,
these
yeah.
music interludes are great. I love seeing Soundgarden, love seeing
But
Alice
he
in
doesn't
Chains,
seem
but
like
like,
the type of guy that will
no.
be into that. I know, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I just didn't find that believable. It's gonna make that amazing song Ritual. I think it's Ritual Sun, which they play, which is really crazy. And then I love when Debbie meets she goes onto like the air she's going to like what Mexico for like a vacation, and then she tells the flight attendant woman, like, can you sit me next to a single guy?
Oh
And
my
it's like
God.
it's like this little boy, or not little boy, but he's like, I don't know, like 12.
And then he's like, hey, I have a good feeling about you.
Tell me everything there is to know about
Oh my
you.
God. So funny.
And then she gets off the plane and then he's like still talking, and then she sees his dad who's like divorced, and they like instantly like have this
Oh, yeah.
connection, which is so funny that I was like, oh, Debbie meets the guy at the airport. I was like, that's really cool. And the next chapter is What Took You So Long. And
Oh, yeah.
Linda is back with her ex Andy, who she talked about with Steve when they were talking about relationships. He has like long
He's
hair.
so
He's
boring.
so boring. He's also in Point Break. He's one of
Is
the
he?
robbers in Point Break. Yeah, I forgot his name now, but he's like done. He did so many movies in the 90s.
Huh.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna find out right now because, yeah, he's in like loads of stuff. Because I saw like an SVU or something with him, like some kind of like TV show, and they singled him out. They were like, and blah blah blah, and I was like, oh shit, is he like a big deal? Like, I
Hmm.
didn't think he was like that big of a deal, but
Yeah, I definitely haven't seen him in anything.
yeah, his name escapes me. I think his
But
name is
I
what?
also think he
Andy?
looks sort of creepy. Like, I feel that if I was to meet him, I'll be like, he's a psycho, like a total psycho,
He
because he looks
definitely
like,
looks weird. James LaGrosse is his name.
you know what I mean? Like, he looks like such a goody goody, but then he
He
could also
does
be
have
like
a weird.
I don't know, like a serial killer or something.
Yeah, I think it's the hair.
It's the hair, yeah.
Isn't he in? Oh, he's also in Drugstore Cowboy. That's right, with Matt Dillon. We should do that. Gus Van Sant. I mean, it's.
I have to say, I don't love Matt Dillon.
Oh, you don't?
I think he's just, I don't think he's that good.
He's okay. Yeah, I don't think he's great, but he's okay. I don't like
Like,
this. I don't dislike
I don't
him.
get him. Like, I don't think he's not even, you know, like some actors, I'm like, okay, they have a lot of charisma, or they're really talented, or they're really cute.
Hmm.
I kind of feel like he's just like there's not much to him, but that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, no, that it's true. I feel like he's not in Hollywood that much. I feel like I don't really see him. Like, I don't know
Hmm,
if he voluntarily was just like, I'm out. Like, I don't want to do films, or
probably
maybe, but yeah, I don't know. But I never see him that much. I just see him kind of like around. He's what,
hmm,
56 now.
around. I
He's
see him
in.
around all the time.
Do you?
No, it's just
I mean,
funny.
like
You were like
around, like in
around.
stuff. Yeah, like in big movies. The last big
When you
movie he
say
was
that, it sounds
in.
like, yeah, you see him. You know, when I go to the shop and that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would see some people at the grocery store when I lived in LA. I would see people around,
Yeah, in
technically.
LA. No,
Yeah, but not here now.
we just see politicians here. That's all we
Do we? I
see.
don't see any. I don't even see any. We
Oh
don't
no,
hang out down there.
I see politicians. Although I did see
But you live closer to down there than I do.
yeah, really close to White House. I did see Dave what is his name? The comedian
Who?
Dave
Oh
LaChapelle.
yeah, Dave Chappelle.
Thank you.
Not David LaChapelle, the photographer. You
Oh
mean
yeah, that's a
Dave
photographer.
Chappelle. Yeah, Dave Chappelle.
The comedian. Yeah, I saw him walking just
Oh
to
yeah,
work.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because he's from here. It's cool.
He used to go into Urban all the time.
I
I
don't
used
think
to see
that.
him
I think
when I
that's
worked there.
as cool as it gets.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, I used to see Obama.
Although,
That
do
was
you
pretty
know that
cool.
guy? What's his name? He's British and he was in Next Top Model.
Nigel?
Not Nigel.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
the judge.
yeah. I saw him like last year with a really hot girl
Oh, here, like in town.
in DC. Yeah,
Oh wow, that's weird.
yeah. I went to. Remember when I went to that hotel thing? That well,
Oh, yeah, okay,
the
I remember
Reeds,
that.
like, yeah, he was there. Like,
Oh.
I was like, oh, he's aged all right. Like, he looks quite good.
How is he in his, like, 40s?
No,
Or
he's so tall.
is he?
Like, oh yeah, like he's like the tallest person I've seen like in years. He's like massive. Yeah,
Oh,
really
wow, he's
tall.
6'4".
Yeah, I told you.
He's 48.
Yeah, he looked pretty good.
He's a Taurus. April
Is he?
April 27.
Oh, the cool people are.
Yeah, it's true. Shout out to Tauruses out there. Um, okay, yeah, so she's back with Andy, the sensitive ponytail guy, as Steve calls him, because he was like, "You're back with him, aren't you? You're back with sensitive ponytail guy." That's what he said like earlier. But she actually is back with him because she dated him for like 2 years, and he's just really comfortable and boring. And I was like, oh, she's like, I just moved back in, and already 10 minutes we're like an old married couple, like already just picking up where they left
Yeah, they're
off.
so boring.
So
Like,
boring.
I think she's one of those girls that cannot be on her own. Like, so
Yeah.
many, and there are men too, but I have a few friends that they need to be in a relationship, otherwise they don't feel happy.
Yeah, I have a few friends like that. I don't have
Yeah.
that. I don't have that gene.
No,
Not
I
at
can't
all.
imagine that. That's like
No.
that's sad, because if you can't enjoy your own company, like
It
I don't
helps
know,
to
I
be
don't
an
think
only child.
it
I'm an only
does it.
child, so
I
well,
guess.
yeah, I mean, it's not weird. Like it's not like so foreign. And I think the friends that I do have that are like that just like being in relationships, they all have siblings, and the ones that I have that are a lot like me, we're all only children. And we're
Hmm.
all like we'll date when we feel like it, but are not it's not a priority. It's like
Yeah.
in no way a priority in like any of my friends that are single and like that are only children, like that kind of vibe. I guess because
Yeah.
we just like are used to being by ourselves, and it doesn't bother me. Like I'm not like, oh god, like I think I like myself. I think I'm
Yeah.
cool.
No, it makes
Not
sense.
that other people don't, but some people are like, God, how can you be an only? Like some people can't pick. I can't picture that side, and some people can't picture my side. Like, how could you be an only child? That's crazy. Like, I could
Hmm.
never imagine not having siblings or not having like tons of family around all the time. Because siblings, friends, there's always someone. It's like you're never like home by yourself. So I was like,
Yeah,
oh, yeah, yep.
that's true.
It's kind of weird. And then I wrote, and Steve on the other side is living in like a breakup hell with a trashed apartment.
Oh my god.
Like that's okay. The fact that he
Oh,
hadn't left his place and he's like, "There's no need to go out anymore." I was like, "Bitch, you don't have the internet. Where are you getting your groceries from?"
well, I guess he was getting takeout every day, like delivered.
But he
'Cause he
quit
had
his
like,
job.
yeah, but he probably have savings. He's the sort of guy that will
Oh
have
yeah, he
savings for
does. Yeah,
sure.
he does.
And he had like pizza and like all these like fast food,
But you have to have
deliveries.
like milk and orange juice and stuff just to like eat in
Well,
the
maybe he just
beginning of
didn't
the
eat
day.
much,
Yeah, probably not. Yeah, he's depressed and broken up. Yeah, and then I like when Janet comes to him. She like comes to the window,
Oh yeah.
and she like kind of tries to talk him down, and that's when they say like, in another life we probably would have been a scorching couple, but here we're just
I love
neighbors.
that. It's like in a parallel universe, we are a scorching couple. And it's like, well, we're neighbors. In this point,
Yeah.
we're neighbors or
Uh,
something.
yeah, I think that's cool. Um, and then I see like Cliff misses Janet, and you see him walking down the street, and that's when they're playing like Smashing Pumpkins' "Drown," which is like one of my
So good. I
favorite
love that
songs.
song so
Oh,
much.
so good.
So good.
Goddamn, Billy Corgan can write a song. I
Yeah.
really like it.
Nothing tops like quite a few of their albums actually.
Like so
They've got so
many.
many good albums.
Uh,
Not even like songs, like actual full albums. Like,
and B-sides. Don't even get me started on the
yeah.
amount of fucking unreleased
Oh
shit that
my
Smashing Pumpkins
god.
has. It's
Yeah.
insane. Like it's insanity. It's like bordering on like I don't even know. They must have
Mhm.
thousands. And who knows what's not even released.
Mhm.
That's just what like people put on the internet. It's crazy. He
Basically.
must write songs like daily. He has to. Or maybe at some point in time he was writing like so many. Or like
He had all these materials.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's so
Yeah,
much. Yeah.
probably.
I can never imagine being like that good at songwriting. Just like coming out with like just Gish, which is
Just like
already
lyrics,
amazing,
like yeah.
and then doing Today, and then doing Siamese Dream, which is
Oh,
another amazing album, and then Melancholy. It's like,
I mean that
damn, like
album, yeah.
how are you just making I think the first four albums up until Adore I think are so solid. I loved Adore. It didn't
I
do very
love
well, but it's great.
I love that album. Such a
Yeah,
good
I think it's
album.
great. And then it got a little touchy later on. It got a little weird. His solo stuff's not bad. I loved Zwan, the band Zwan
Yeah,
that
do
he
you know
had.
what? I actually did like that album they released, the first one.
Yeah, it was good. And then they broke up like right before I was going to see them. I was so mad. I was like going to buy tickets and everything, and then they just broke up. And I was like, fuck this. I was like, I want to see Zwan. So yeah, Smashing Pumpkins is playing another great song that's on the soundtrack. I'll link the soundtrack in the show notes on Spotify. It's literally the reason to watch this film is the fucking music. Like it's great.
Yeah, the
I'm
music
sure
is
that's why
amazing.
a lot of people wanted to hear this episode. I think about the music because this is a very like if this didn't have this soundtrack, this would be a rom-com that I would not be into. Like it just is
I totally
very
agree. I
it's
feel like the
very
music makes
vanilla.
it totally. The music totally like makes
Yeah.
the film, you know.
Totally. And the whole like vibe of the clothes and the setting, like, that really makes it too. So then Linda comes back to Steve's door and she's like, the quintessential like get back together moment before the end of the film. And then I love when they're like making out on the couch and then they're next to his garage door opener. And then
Oh
it keeps
yeah,
flipping, like it
that's
keeps
cool.
moving up. I like that. That was cool. And then you see, I think it's Cliff like is talking to the camera at the end, and he's like, "Well, everyone moves on. Steve's moving out to go find a place with Linda. Debbie is doing. I think she met that guy, at the airport. Like she's doing this. Bailey, who's like we barely see, who's one of like Steve's friends, who's kind of like this guy who, like wants a girl. Like he's still living there. So he's like, yeah, things move on. He's like, I'll always be here. Sometimes I think I'm just not meant to like be with anyone long term, and like that's cool. Like, and he's just like, oh yeah, that's how it works here, whatever. And then you see like Cliff and Janet in the elevator at
Oh
the end,
yeah,
which I think is really cool.
I do
Um,
I do like that scene a lot actually.
yeah, I think that's really cute. And he's like, I really like your hat, and I don't mean that in an Eddie Haskell kind of a way. I do also love that he has that Edie Sedgwick shirt on at
Yeah,
some point.
so
So fucking
cool.
hot. I think he's like the hottest one in the movie for me, outside of like Chris Cornell, Lane Staley, and like Eddie Vedder. But
Yeah,
everyone else, like,
I agree.
you
Well,
know.
yeah, I don't like the other guys. Like they're like, ugh,
Yeah, I
no.
definitely think he's like the best one. And then you get that awesome like pan out, and I like how it pans out and you hear all those like conversations. Like you just sounds like people talking on the phone or like friends talking to each other about
Oh
like
yeah,
relationships, and I like
that
that
is
kind
pretty
of
cool.
voiceover. Yeah, I think it's cool. And then you just have this pan out to like Seattle, and then it just ends, and I think it's probably another Paul Westerberg song. I think it's like Waiting for Somebody
I
or Dyslexic Heart. It's those two songs are like in the beginning and the end. I can't remember which one, but yeah. So I really this movie's fun. It's cool. I'm sure you've probably seen it since you guys all requested it. So yeah. What are your fashion notes? I can't wait to hear your fashion notes. I have a
you
few,
know,
but I don't have that
it's funny
many.
because I don't really have that much. I feel like overall, I mean, I like everything, right, that everyone wears, but I feel that it's just very simple 90s stuff, like really scruffy stuff, like.
Mm-hmm.
But I do love that one outfit that Janet wears. Um, it's just like black tights with like Doc Martens boots and the leather jacket and a hat. And
Mm-hmm.
she's wearing like a floral dress. I think it's
Yeah.
like reddish. She's just that's such a cool, iconic. That's how I think of the 90s, like early 90s.
Yeah, that's like real.
Yeah, that was like Macy Star used to wear stuff like that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I was really young, but like I was like every time I stay at my auntie's, I'd be like wearing her clothes.
Ah,
And
that's
she
so
had all these
cool.
dresses. I was like, I just want to be old and wear all this cool stuff. And I love that outfit that Debbie wears.
Oh, the biking
Besides,
one?
yeah, I love that. It's just really fun. Like it
It
really
is
reminded me
cool.
of that shoot that we did with Sophie
Oh
when
yeah.
I put her in that green jumpsuit. But it's not really like it is like a jumpsuit, but it's like a like fluorescent green. Like with those massive glasses. Yeah, but I mean, the boys are. It's just very low key, but I liked it. I mean, it was just totally what people were wearing at that time. You
Yeah,
know,
totally.
I don't think they thought much about it. You know, except for Debbie probably because she's obviously like a different character.
Yeah, yeah, she definitely has like a vibe. And her hair
But
too. Her hair was so 90s. That
yeah, oh my
short,
god.
teased bang with like that A that kind of comes out and then curls up under.
Yeah, and also because the early 90s, a lot of people, I mean, every decade, right? But you have a lot of 80s.
Yeah,
80s quite strong still, like was in the early 90s. So like her green dress is quite structured, like big pat shoulders and stuff,
yeah.
you know. It's very 80s in a way. But yeah, like I mean I like the fact that they hang out in this coffee shop, but like the mood, you know, is very like low key, cool. They go to concerts.
I
Like
like coffee shop. It's not like fancy like now.
no, exactly. No.
Cool.
Which I love. I love that it's not like all nice and stuff. And yeah, I think that's it for fashion.
Cool. Okay, I have some notes. I have them by characters. Linda,
Oh,
I love
wow.
her layered outfit in the beginning where she meets Louise. I just
Which one is that?
she just has like a
Different.
coat on, jeans, a sweater.
Oh, yeah.
It just looks really cool, like all layered together. I really like her hair too.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love
I
her
love her
always
hair.
has her hair like that. Like I think that's one of her things. So she has that.
Totally forgot to say that about her hair because I feel like she has that kind of almost like a bowl cut if you were to put her bangs down because they're to the side. But I kept looking at her hair thinking if you do her hair all down, it will be slightly like a longer bowl cut, but like longer at the back. You know
No,
what I mean?
Linda, not Linda.
No, sorry, Janet.
Oh, Janet. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm obsessed with her hair. Sorry.
Oh,
You
yeah,
just reminded me that, yeah, her hair is fucking cool.
yeah.
Anyway, sorry to interrupt. You, please go
No, it's
ahead.
okay. Let's see. I love Linda's hair. Cliff, he's my favorite. I love his style. So Pearl Jam, the long johns layered under the shorts. My favorite outfit that he wears is that pink tie dye shirt,
Yeah,
and then they're
that's
like
cool.
he's got the white long johns underneath their ripped jeans, but the rips are like small rips all the way down on the front. And then he has that black leather jacket. I think that's my favorite outfit. I do like the other one that he has that literally is like a Pearl Jam outfit from a video. And it's all funny too because it's actually Jeff Ament's clothes. But it's like the green shirt, it's like a pine green shirt with like the black layered um
Yeah.
long johns.
Hmm.
That I think looks really cool. Steve, I wrote basic 90s guy. Bailey, who's his friend, I wrote he dresses like a beatnik poet and lives life in a French film. That's what he said. He's like
Oh, yeah.
hat and that
That's cool.
structured jacket, like vintage. I love Janet's like Buster Keaton hat and like red romper with the tights. And I also like that outfit where she's wearing that bra top in Cliff's apartment when she asks like
Oh, yeah.
small, and then she has like some kind of
She,
bottoms. Is it a skirt or tights?
I don't know, but she's just wearing this black bra and it's cool.
Yeah, it's super
She's
cool.
so tiny.
Yeah, she's so tiny. It's super cool. And then Debbie, yeah, I just have like so 80s neon and then the 90s tracksuit, which I think is so funny.
So cool.
What
Yeah.
music notes do you have? I mean, it's all just
Oh,
we've been talking about.
it's all so good. I
All
feel like
good.
my favorite songs are definitely like Alice in Chains, like Wood.
Mhm.
Um, Breathe, obviously, by Pearl Jam. Chris Cornell, like Seasons, like ugh,
Yeah,
I,
that's solo
I
song.
don't know. There's also like Jimi Hendrix in it, isn't it? I'm trying to remember what scene
Is
was it.
that when they're at his grave? It could be like
Maybe,
faintly playing in the background because there's a lot of music that plays in the
I
background.
think so. I think it was in the
60s.
background because I don't remember it specifically. Like it was like in a defining moment when he came up. But and obviously the Smashing Pumpkins song.
Yeah,
Like,
that's my favorite.
but I do really like that other one. By Mud Honey. What is
Oh,
it
Touch Me,
called?
I'm Sick?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so good. There's
Yeah.
just so much good music. It's yeah. I was listening to the soundtrack like last week. When we knew we were gonna do it.
Yeah. It's so
But yeah, isn't it crazy that they released the soundtrack 3 months before they released the movie.
Because they knew.
They knew that they wanted to get everyone excited and hyped up about the film, and it's such a good idea to do that, you know?
Yeah, I know that soundtracks used to come out. Not, I've never heard of 3 months, but they used to come out like like way before. Like you'd know songs in the movie before you saw the movie.
Hmm.
They'd play on the radio or something. I remember the Romeo and Juliet one came out, and people all knew that garbage song.
Oh
Number one
yeah,
crush, like before,
Crush.
yeah,
Yeah.
before it was in the film, like before we'd seen the film, and people were like looking for it, and it's not even in the film in like a really like
Oh yeah,
bold
obviously.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very like it's in the background. It's not one of like the songs that you hear, but that was like the big song off that soundtrack because Garbage was huge. Garbage is awesome though. Shirley Manson's so dope.
She's so fucking
So is
cool.
Butch Vig. So like yeah, they're really cool. My music notes, I just have like literally one of my favorite soundtracks ever. It's up there with Dazed and Confused, the double Dazed and Confused, too, which I love. Yeah, Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, so amazing. I love Paul Westerberg. He's the lead singer of The Replacements.
Yeah. We're talking about him.
Yeah, I really like those two songs, Waiting for Somebody and Dyslexic Heart. Those are great songs, and I love The Replacements. The album Tim, if you've never listened to them,
I
great.
don't know them.
Oh,
Yeah.
listen to the album Tim. Everyone should
Okay.
if you want to
Okay.
know. There's another one, I want to say it's called like Let Go or Let It Back, something like that. But Tim is one of my favorite ones. And then there's another one called Pleased to Meet Me, which is another good one. But yeah, the replacements are great. My favorite songs in it are probably I love that I Nearly Lost You from Screaming Trees is playing in the background. The Pixies, but Mother Love Bones, Chloe Dancer, Crown of
Oh yeah.
I love
Of
that
course.
song. So that's really good. That's one of my favorites in there. Yeah. And then of course everyone else, Pearl Jam, the heavy hitters. It's so crazy that out of the main four, Nirvana is like the one that's like, nah.
Well, I get it, to be
Yeah,
honest.
I get it.
I
It's
feel like they're too, yeah. It would have been weird to see him in that, or
yeah, I could never see it. Like
I
never.
can see Dave Grohl, but not Kurt Cobain.
And I could also see Chris too.
Yeah, because they're
Like
so
it would be
goofy. They
like,
don't care. They just be
yeah,
like silly, like just having fun.
yeah, totally. So what are your favorite scenes and lines?
Okay. Favorite scene. I really like it when she cleans the toilet with Steve's t-shirt because it's so the thing that for some reason she's just immature. Like I remember doing something similar when I got dumped by my boyfriend, and anyway, it's a boyfriend I had when I was 22 or 23. He kissed one of our friends in a club because he was really drunk in front of me, and I dumped him. And so we had just gone to the fun fair, whatever it is you call it here. Theme park? Do you call it theme park?
Theme park? Yeah, like amusement park with rides, like roller coasters and shit.
Yeah, so we
Yeah,
call
yeah.
them fun fairs, but there's
Oh
one in
wow.
Blackpool, and I bunked off school to go with him, and he obviously, you play games, and he won a massive teddy bear, and I fucking hate teddy bears, but it was a huge one, like
Did he give it to you?
absolutely. Yeah, of course,
Oh,
he won it for
cool.
me, and it was like this massive thing, right?
Cool.
And it was funny because he used to um drive a motorbike, and so we drove back on his bike in like
And you had this
London,
big
and I had this massive thing
bear?
with me, Karen, and so when we broke up, I went home and I took a pair of scissors and I just completely destroyed the teddy bear, and I got all the stuff in now, and it was
Oh
very
my
dramatic.
god. Oh
And my
wow.
sister was like, "Oh my god, you're so dramatic! Like, is that really necessary? You could just donate it to a child, like for Christmas." And I was
Oh
like,
yeah.
I must destroy this, so silly, God. So it reminded me of that. And yeah, let's do like favorite scenes, and then we'll do favorite lines.
Okay, I just have a few. I don't have that many favorite. Like I don't know. I have them all mixed up. I do. Okay, here are my scenes. I like when he goes on that water date where he's like,
Oh my
"Do you want
God.
lunch? Do you want coffee? Water? How about some water?"
Same. That's in mine. So you said
Yeah, so
mine.
I just
Yeah.
wrote the water date as really funny.
Dinner, lunch. What about some water? Let's have water.
Water? You want to have some water?
So funny.
Funny. I like the Who Lives in the Apartment tour by Steve. where he like
Oh
shows
yeah.
everyone like that's Janet, da da da, and he explains and like that's Bailey, that's Debbie. Like I like how he like breaks it all down so you like know who's in the building. I think that's cool. I love the flashback where Linda goes to that like flashes back to college and there was a contraceptive party where everyone had to come as their favorite birth control.
Oh my god, that was so
So
funny.
that was really funny. Of course, the Debbie date video by Tim, and of course, the
Yeah.
"Come to where the flavor is, come to Debbie country." That's,
Yeah,
that's
so basically we got pretty much the same ones. But I'm gonna add to that.
yeah.
So one that you didn't have was the other favorite scene is when Janet says to Cliff, "We made a connection, and when you make the connection, it's like chemistry takes care of herself. I mean, it makes its own decisions, you know." And it's just so funny how she's talking about that. Like,
And he's just like,
yeah, she comes across as like really intense and like typical girl when you know when you like a guy a lot. Um, and favorite lines, I really like it when Debbie says, I think it's Debbie, "Desperation, it's the world's worst cologne."
Oh, that is good.
And the other one is, yeah, "Come to where the flavor is, come to Debbie country." I love that. I kind of want to steal that, but it sort of doesn't apply to me because if I was single, I could totally say that, but not really.
Would you? Would you say like "Come to where the flavor is, come to Jai country"?
I used to say really crazy shit. Yeah,
Oh wow.
I used to have lots of like make weird statements. And post them on Facebook when I was drunk. I'll have my laptop.
Have you
Like
gone
my
back?
friends knew.
Like the back and seen the old ones?
No, I'm no. Like I'll be horrified if I did that. It's just I just don't go on it ever. But my friends all knew that about me. So if we were out drinking stuff, they'll be like, "Oh, Jai, remember to put away your laptop when you get home. Do not go on Facebook because I'll just be posting really silly things. I'll
Oh
be like,
wow, that's so
I will make the dumbest statements ever. Like, oh God. Like once I said we were all out drinking at mine. It was like 10 of us, just like a dinner on a Tuesday night. And I drank a whole bottle of mezcal pretty much by myself.
fun.
And then I was typing on like on Facebook and my friends were like, "Stop it, don't go online. What are you saying?" I'm like, "Nothing. I had to be on this. I need to do what my fans want me to do." And they're like, "What fans?" I'm like, everyone. They're like, "Oh my God." Like,
Fans?
yeah, basically like I needed to be online because my fans wanted me to.
Oh my god.
So silly. Yeah. God,
That's
it's
so
cringe.
funny.
So I probably would be saying that line if I was single and in London.
Oh wow. I don't think I have a thing. Like I don't have a tagline. I used to say sweet all the time. But that's
Yeah, I
about
say sweet now a lot.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I think I still say sweet, but I used to say it all the time. But I don't know. I don't think I have a tagline or I don't think I ever said anything that funny or weird.
Oh.
Are those the only things you have?
Yeah.
The lines? Okay. Some of mine are when Steve says when his dad told him have fun, stay single.
Oh yeah.
I
He
like
was only 8.
yeah. I also like Cliff when he says, "Janet, you're spazzing off on me," which is also a 90s moment because everyone used to say spaz. I have a lot of 90s moments. Then I have let's see, the water date. And then I have like, yeah, we're probably a scorching couple, like in this reality, we're just roommates.
Yeah.
And I have the Janet, you rock my world.
Yeah. Oh my God. I used to say that.
I
Oh,
know, it's really funny.
I
What
think
do you
everyone said it.
Yeah, totally. Totally. What do you have for 90s moments?
90s moments. Okay, I have Chris Cornell. I know it's like
Yeah.
I'm just gonna pull that because yeah, he's just like so cool. Um, I have the cassette tape to leave a voice message.
Mhm.
That is just crazy. And big chunky phones, like
Oh,
telephones.
yeah.
Like they were really big.
Cordless ones, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh,
You?
wow. Okay, I have a list. I have spaz, totally 90s slang, coffee shops, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, and Alice.
Oh yeah.
The phone book watch calculator that the guy
Oh yeah.
card. He's like, I can fit
Yeah,
20
that
people's
was-
numbers in here. And I was like, oh, so 90s. Newsstands, tier. I love newsstands. I wrote calling on the phone to make a first date. like just in general, like where you write someone's number down and like that's
Oh
how you call
yeah.
people.
Oh
Like
my god, that is so
like
true. There's
yeah,
so many.
yeah, the voicemail tape thing, those old wildlife videos that they were watching, like Cliff and like all the guys from Pearl Jam, like they were
Yeah.
watching like this weird video about like what was it, hornets?
Oh
Like
yeah, it was about hornets. Yeah.
yeah, and those like old videos are so 90s. Like now we have David Attenborough, we have like fucking
Oh yeah.
close and
They're like
HD.
cool. Now they were scary back
So
then.
scary and boring. That old pregnancy test, that was crazy.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah, there are a lot. I
wigging,
love
he says wigging at one point. Like, God, you're wigging. Like, wigging is super 90s slang. When Steve is waiting by the fax machine for her to like send a fax, like he's like
yeah.
staring at the fax machine. And then I have like when the voicemail tape gets eaten, and that's like a plot point because then she never gets that message. Like, that's super 90s.
That is true.
That would
That
never
is true.
happen. Yeah. So this was a very 90s movie. If you had
It was.
that out, this was very 90s.
You're right. I don't know how I missed all those things. Of course, yeah.
I feel like a lot of
Um,
them usually center around technology, but this one had a lot more that were more like newsstands. Like that's sad.
Oh, I know. You used to be able to get all this like cool. I know.
And slang like spaz and wigging and like that's super 90s. Like I feel like a lot of movies don't use such 90s slang unless it's like a kids movie or something. But not in like adult, like and like the ones we were doing like Seven and like shit, like there's no 90s slang, like
No,
very just straightforward. So this was one of
no.
the like fun ones. This is a fun one though.
Yeah, totally.
Fun
No,
movie.
this really was. So
Yeah.
many funny lines, literally.
We're doing Almost Famous now. I was talking to Mike
Yeah,
earlier about he wants to do a Halloween one since he's like the resident horror person. But are you a resident horror person? Like, should we do some scary ones for October? Like,
yeah.
you want to do another
But the thing is, I love horror, but I like old school horror. I don't like any of this not
horror?
like nonsense, modern crap. That's never that scary.
Let's see if we can find if I.
I like Hitchcock, and I obviously
Oh, yeah, I
love
like Hitchcock too.
The Shining and movies like that.
I didn't love The Shining, but
Like The Exorcist is such
I
a good.
don't watch that.
Why?
No, I don't watch shit about possession, like at all.
Oh, you told me this
Yeah.
before. Yeah, sorry. That's why it's scary.
Well, yeah, I believe in that shit, so I don't want to see it.
Yeah, so last Halloween, I was in New York with my mom. She came to visit.
Yeah.
And of course, she went to bed early. And we were at this hotel. And I was like, I can't sleep. I'm just going to watch some entertainment, because I don't have that
E
normally.
Entertainment.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's just called E. It's just
Oh, right.
like
Okay.
some E Entertainment. Okay.
Okay, yeah, whatever. And they had this show on that was basically all about the scary films. Like,
True Hollywood Story.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was basically about all the stories that happen on sets or around certain
People
filmings of horror films, and it's so crazy. Like, I was like, I totally believe all of this happened because why would they make it up?
Oh yeah, totally.
And I was actually terrified. But I kind of like that. I love scary stuff. Like, kind of addicted to it, even though I genuinely get scared. And yeah, don't
Oh
know.
wow, okay. Well, maybe we'll find a good, somewhat thriller, scary film to do. I think we can.
What about? But I don't know if this is right, and I don't remember when this came out. Probably in the 80s because I was a kid. I think when It came out.
Oh, that was 80s.
Yeah,
I think
I don't know because I've only seen that
that
film
one's scary. Like I don't
when
even
I was young,
that
but
was so scary.
I had to say that I think I was 4 when I watched it, 4 or 5
4?
years old. I think so. I remember I was really young and I developed like this weird thing where I could not go to bed unless all doors were closed. So
Oh,
like
yeah.
the wardrobe, the actual bedroom door, I was like terrified that of the clown,
Oh,
like
wow. I mean, it is pretty fucking scary.
yeah.
I'm trying to think if we should do like we won't tell. We won't tell. You'll see. We'll do something scary. But yeah. We won't say anything yet because we don't
Okay,
know
yeah,
what it's
okay, let's
gonna
go.
be.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, it'll be something cool. But yeah, I'm gonna do some scary ones with
Okay, yeah, let's do some scary ones
yeah,
that last week for Halloween or whatever.
yeah, we'll do someone. But I think we're gonna do. I guess we might do Almost Famous soon. We'll
Yeah.
put it on the. I'll move it up the list. So that's cool.
Yeah, I just can't do one on the 30th. Is that Halloween 30th?
No, 31st is.
Okay, yeah, because that's my mom's birthday, so
Oh,
I can't.
cool.
Yeah.
She is your half birthday or our same half birthday.
What?
October 30th is our half birthday.
What does that mean?
In 6 months. You never had a half birthday? It means like
No,
6 months. Like
I didn't
I
think
used to
about
look
that.
forward to that when I was young because I'd be like, I'm 6.5.
Oh no,
Like
I never saw
seven
it
and
like that.
a half. Like I'm almost 8 or like I'm almost this. Like, yeah, so it'd be like 6 months from your birthday is your half birthday.
Oh no, I don't think like that.
Oh,
The only thing I do now, since I turned 30, is I celebrate for a whole week. That's like my birthday lasts a week
oh,
now.
I celebrate for a month.
Yeah,
It's all of April.
I just treat myself. Self-love is important.
Yeah, totally. Well,
Yeah,
on that note, we will see you soon. Like and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this trip down Seattle rom-com memory lane in the grunge era. But yeah, it's cool. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode because you guys wanted it.
yeah,
Like by an overwhelming margin. So
it's crazy.
that's
Yeah.
crazy. So I'm excited to see how it's
Thanks for making me watch a film that I had no idea
yeah, I'm
existed.
glad.
So,
I'm glad you hadn't seen it. That's awesome. Cool. Well,
cool.
we will see you all on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.